This is a test. This is only a test. So, had Greg bring up a bunch of those wood chips that I showed you yesterday. And I think I'm going to take and dig some holes, some pits, and I'm going to put some soil in there. And I'm going to plant some of my medicinal herbs. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to see and we're going to test it out. So I think what I'm going to put in here, I'm going to put a couple of sunflowers because I want some sunflowers. And this is pretty much the only place I can put them right now. And then I think I'm going to put some milk thistle and some mullein and some other medicinals. Let's check it out. First off, I'm going to try the sunflowers because sunflowers are pretty hardy here in Texas. And I love me some sunflowers. And so I'm going to try these, and I'm digging down all the way to the soil, and I'm popping the plants in there, and then I'm going to water it very heavily. Now this is very cushioning, and I know it's going to take a while to break down, guys. Probably not going to be a good place to put things until next year, but we're going ahead and getting it started. And the reason why I chose milkweed and mullein is because they are actually weeds here in Texas, and I think they might have a better chance at growing in this. I'm digging down pretty deep all the way to my soil, and I'm just popping my little sunflowers in there and covering them up. So we'll see what happens. Again, this is a test. I don't know that this is going to work, but I'm willing to give it a shot just to see. Milk thistle is a beautiful plant to me. This is the first year we started it by seed. And again, these are a weed. They're pretty hardy. So I'm excited to see, or interested to see, how these work. So milk thistle, as a medicinal, is good for detox and detoxing your liver specifically. For the milk thistle and the mullein, I'm going to go ahead and add some of my potting mix in here. We use the Happy Frog from Fox Farms, and I'm going to add a little bit of that so it gives it something to bite into. I filled in around it, and now I'm going to pile the wood chips back up around it, and we'll just see, guys. We'll see how this works. If anything, it'll help things to start decomposing more and faster, adding some of the soil sporadically through this pile. But yeah, I want to see if I can get some of this stuff to grow. Now I've got 2 mulleins. Now this also is a weed here in Texas. This is good for your respiratory tract. Good for flus and colds. So I'm going to go ahead and pop 2 of these in and see what happens. I've placed them on the outer edge and the outer rim of my garden because these are perennial. They will come back, and I'm going to need the rest of this garden next year. Now this area is where I did my green beans last year, and you may remember it just kept getting covered in weeds, and so we really needed to do something to where I can make this some usable space. It's not going to be usable that much this year, but next year I bet it's going to be real usable. Now I'd like to point out that this area right here of soil used to be my main garden years ago, before we got that little high tunnel, and it was probably about 1,200 square feet, and it covered where the high tunnel is. And we had to modify this soil on a continuous basis. Every year we had to modify it. We were putting compost, we were putting different soils, mushroom compost, everything. And guys, in our part of the world, here in North Texas, it would just disappear over the summer when we would go into a drought. Those cracks would open up in the ground. And I think some people in China got some really good gardens out of my garden soil, because that's exactly what would happen. And that's why we have reverted to the high tunnels, and we have reverted to raised beds, because it's really, really hard to grow in the ground here. And that's why we got all that mulch on the back acre too, is because we plan on doing this here with it as well on at least 1/4 of the acre. And so maybe we'll have something plantable in the next year or so. So Greg will go ahead and put some of his composting enzymes on this. I don't know what they are. I'll ask him and let you know. But it'll help it compost down a little quicker. And the key to this is keeping it wet through the summer. We've got to keep it wet, because if you keep it wet, it composts much quicker. So we'll be doing that now. I'm seeing that it's full of the pill bugs, and we all know pill bugs are very destructive. I know a lot of people think that they clean out the heavy metal and stuff in your soil, and they do, but they don't when there's a billion of them. They will eat your garden alive. And so we use Sluggo Plus for situations like that. I don't know that I'm going to put the Sluggo Plus in here. I'm going to wait and see how these plants do, because I got more I can plant. if I need to. So I'll watch this over the next week and give you an update. But yeah, I want them to go ahead and get this decomposing, but I don't want them in my main garden, and I don't think you do either. I planted squash and zucchini in this raised bed yesterday, so we gotta be sure and keep it damp. We'll probably see some germination in about 7 to 10 days. It depends on this week's weather, but we're gonna be warm, and I really expect that we'll see it germinate pretty quick. This is my salad garden this year. I've got some peppers in there. By the time the peppers start to come up, my greens will start going out. So I've got me some Brussels sprouts. That's my marshmallow from last year. I got some arugula, some bok choy, butter crunch lettuce, mustard greens. This is kale from last year. So yeah, this is going to be my salad garden. I'm trying Kentucky pole beans in my small Vigo garden here, and some of the things that are good companion plants for your Kentucky pole beans are your greens, your spinach, your kale, your chard. So that's what I got going on in there. And then over here I just have some Cantari bush beans, and I'm gonna have to fill in some gaps in there today. Looks like some of them did not germinate. And then here I have my Cantari bush beans. Last year about this time, Greg took some wood chips from back there, and he made a path to our big high tunnel for our sale because this would flood out. You can still see the remnants of it, but look, guys, look how the grass, especially Bermuda grass, just took over, and it's made a beautiful little hump, a little walkway. But in the summertime, boy, this really turns green, and it makes a beautiful lawn. So I'm kind of hoping for the same. It was about as thick as that is up there. I'm kind of hoping for the same experience with that up there. We shall see. If you go back into my video archives about 5 years ago, we had a little tiny greenhouse right here that got obliterated by the winds out here. And right here, we did the very same thing with the wood chips. We tried a permaculture garden. Now, we weren't successful because, and the only reason, we do have our apple trees in it, and look how pretty, guys. The only reason we weren't successful is because we couldn't keep affording to buy those wood chips. So we had spent a significant sum of money putting it here, but I can tell still when I walk in this area, it's more cushiony than the rest of my yard. You can see I've got some pretty grass coming up in there compared to that back there. You can see the difference. You can see the line where we had that, and then you can see back there. So again, I'm hoping for the same results. It's quite muggy, guys. We did get some storms last night. They weren't severe that I know of. Honestly, I just couldn't get up and watch it. These storms are starting to scare me a bit, and I didn't want to get up at midnight and get my adrenaline going because I wouldn't have been able to go back to sleep, and I had gotten up around 3:30 the morning prior and was up all day yesterday. So yeah, I didn't want to do that. So if you're new to our channel, you might want to hit that subscribe and follow along to see how this works, because I'll be updating you weekly on this to see how everything goes and how quickly it breaks down and what it looks like when it starts to do its thing. I'm kind of excited just to see what happens. So this is really a neat experiment for me. But we're expecting maybe some more severe weather tonight. We'll see. Pray that we don't get any hail or high winds. The winds are pretty hefty right now. But say a prayer for us, guys, and we will be in touch with you. Love you all. Give us a thumbs up, guys. Share our videos. Take care. God bless. Love you.